Hey! Welcome into another Whoosh kind of grab bag video here with me, Louie. Today we're going to take a look at something I'm going to borrow from Lunch Money Comics called Comics Found in Strange and Unusual Places. So, let's take a look. So, my father-in-law happens to go to the swap shop whenever he goes to the dump by him to drop off the trash because there's no trash pickup. And when he goes in the swap shop, he's always looking for random things that might be worth something at some point. Who knows, right? And recently he went into the swap shop and saw they had a small box of comics. So he grabbed it for me because he knows I like comics. So I thought I would go through it and share it here with all of you. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because there is quite a bit of books in there. But I did pull some highlights that I thought were kind of cool, some strange things. So I have like 4 examples that I wanted to go through, and I might quickly just kind of thumb through the rest of them. Let's start with something I was not very familiar with. Cracked magazine? No idea. Genuinely no idea about it. I thought this one was funny because we happen to be a big Disney family. My wife loves Hercules and all of those things. One of our favorite stories to tell is as a family, we all went on a Disney cruise back in 2016, around the time of everything happening with Tom Brady and Deflategate, and they had a show on there called Villains Tonight, and it's hosted by Hades. And at one point he drops back with like a tissue, and he's like, he drops back for the pass, he throws it, and it just like floats to nowhere, and he goes, "Ooh, that's deflating," talking about Tom Brady, and the whole crowd just went, "Ooh," and he goes, "We know who's here from New England." So I thought that was pretty funny, but I just happened to like this cover because it's Hercules versus Hercules, showing the animated Hercules characters versus the live action Hercules, which back in the day was a big hit. So I just thought that was a funny coincidence. Yeah. If you know anything about Cracked Magazine, though, let me know in the comments, because I'm very, very curious to see what this was. To be completely honest, I've never heard of it. Like, I've heard of Mad Magazine, but I've never, ever heard of Cracked. So this was a brand new thing for me. What else did we have in there? We had some really cool Marvel issues. Another issue from Valiant that I thought was kind of cool to highlight was a Game Boy comic. So I did do a little bit of research before recording this, and there's nothing of overall significance related to it, to be completely honest, that I could find. Again, if you happen to know something about this, or maybe like if it was a complete run or something, let me know in the comments, because again, I didn't find much. I did just think it was kind of cool. I loved the Game Boy back in the day. I had a Game Boy Pocket when they started to make them smaller. Didn't get a Game Boy Color, but I did end up with a Game Boy Advance, so can't complain. But the Game Boy was huge. I loved it. I loved having it to travel with and play Pokemon on all the time. So I thought this was a really, really cool find in the box, and not something I really expected to find at all in there. So that was cool. Next up, we have Spirits of Vengeance number 9, and the reason I'm highlighting this one is it's a key issue because it's the first appearance of the character Vengeance. The person portraying Vengeance appears a couple issues earlier, but this is the first full appearance. It's not a very super valuable book, but I thought it was cool because it is the first appearance. It was a key that was in the box, and I thought it was worth highlighting. So yeah, that's pretty awesome to find at least a character first appearance in it, and then I'm really excited to jump in and try to read it. So yeah, I don't know. Interesting, these are just found at the transfer station in the swap shop. I don't know if the person who owned them before just happened to be like, I don't want them anymore, if they went through and took out the valuable issues and were like, yeah, we'll just kind of throw the rest of these in there, or not. But yeah, I mean, they're not in the best of shape, but I don't know, I think it's cool. It was a cool, really, really cool find. I'm glad he thought of me and grabbed them for me to take a look at. So yeah, the next and final issue that I pulled to make sure I highlighted was the Uncanny X-Men 312. And like I said, they're not in great shape. They're kind of rough. This one looks like it's got some water damage on it. But this is the first full team appearance of the Phalanx in their actual form. So, again, I thought that was cool. Big X-Men fan. And again, it's just there's a lot of key issues and first appearances in the X-Men. But it was really cool to find one in here. And because these aren't in great shape, they're going to be amazing reader copies for me to pick up and kind of go through and read them and see like what the stories were. Because, let's see, when did this one come out? 1994. This came out in 1994, which means I was 5. So you can extrapolate my age from there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. I wouldn't have picked this up as a kid because, like I said, I was 5. So comics and reading probably weren't a big thing at 5 years old. I think I was huge into the Power Rangers at that point, which is totally fine. But no, I'm excited to pick them up and read them. And yeah, I think what's cool too is like they have some of the cards in them from back in the 90s, which got huge and people spec'd on a lot. So just a cool thing that it's still included in the book. Yeah, those are the key issues I wanted to kind of highlight in there. There were a lot of other things. I know I stuck to mostly Marvel stuff, but there's like Spider-Man 2099 that was in there. Guy Gardner, which, yeah, worst Green Lantern, in my opinion. If you disagree, let me know in the comments, but I think Guy Gardner is awful. I really don't like him. And this isn't like a Rich Rider, I might change my mind later thing. No, I don't like Guy Gardner. In Your Face Ravage, 2099. Again, 2099 was like a big thing that they were doing. Apparently the person who was collecting it really liked the Infinity Watch run, because there's quite a bit of different Infinity Watch stuff in here, and Warlock. So lots of randomness in the box, which I thought was cool. Like Jugheads. Going back to some Archie stuff, there was actually some Archie issues in there too. So it was a random grab bag box of stuff, and I will definitely be taking a look to read it. So let me know if you've ever found comics in a really weird place, or had a family member think of you while finding comics in a really weird place. I always appreciate being thought of, so I'm not mad at all by this. But yeah, that's it for me this week. And again, shout out to Lunch Money Comics. I borrowed their Comics in Strange and Unusual Places tagline. If you haven't checked them out before, make sure to go check them out. I'll include a link to them below. They're one of my favorite comic YouTubers on here. So, yeah, that's it for me. We'll catch you here next time. Thanks.